Going on, family? What's going on? What's going down? What's shaking? Welcome to another Super Black comic book review. This is Jonathan Soul speaking with you now. And we're going to talk about this action adventure comic series called Blackjack by Alex Simmons. There's several books out. The one I'm reviewing in particular is There Came a Dark Hunter. There Came a Dark Hunter. Wonderful illustration by Tim Felder. Everybody knows Tim Felder from the Maddie's Rocket series. And he's helped a lot of people, a lot of other artists with their projects. But yeah, so Alex Simmons, a very well-known author. He's worked, obviously for himself and then Disney and Marvel, DC, I believe, some other companies. And so he has a really rich historical bent in his work. I actually had to look up some stuff when I was reading through the comics. So let's get into it. Blackjack. There Came a Dark Hunter. Now there are three stories in this particular book. One is Way of the Moor. Second one is Goliath Must Die, and the last one is No Good Deed. And I got to tell you, it kind of put me in mind of the action adventure TV series of the 80s. Now, anybody remember Fall Guy? Anybody remember Vanishing Sun? We can even go back to Incredible Hulk with Bill Bixby. We can go to, it was like a ninja one. There was Rising Sun with Russell Wong. I don't know if anybody remember that. It was all of these, even 18, right? Reading this book kind of invokes all of those memories. So Jack Black, his real name is Aaron Day. He comes from a long line of soldiers of fortune. His father, Matthew Day, was a soldier of fortune. He traveled. And so Aaron, he's in Europe. He's traveling during like the 1920s, 1930s, during that period. And he's seen a lot of action. In this first particular story, he's in Poland in 1929 rather. And, this is like, I guess, the tail end of the Russian Polish war, some kind of border war that they had back in the day. Now, again, that references historical events. And so if you're a bit of a history buff, you will really dig it. I had to look this up. As a matter of fact, let me give you a little heads up here. Look up Ira Aldridge, right? His famous actor, and look up Pinkerton Detective Agency, right? Look these up before you touch this book. Just do a quick Google search, and it'll help you get a deeper appreciation for some of Alex Simmons' writing. As a matter of fact, there's another writer who does the same thing. The brother is Roosevelt Pitt of Purge. If you read the latest Blackout, which I'll be reviewing again shortly. I had the digital back in the day, and now I got the print in my hand. You can get the print on indieplanet.us at the time of this recording, and you can have the print in your hand. But yeah, so he does the same thing. He mentions some people. It's, oh man, it's like a dope lyricist in hip hop. They make you go back and rewind. They make you go back. Okay, who is this? Let me just Google this right quick. So basically, he's a soldier of fortune, and in the first story, Way of the Moor, he kind of comes into conflict with the Pinkerton Detective Agency. The Pinkerton Detective Agency in real life, I believe they were hired by Lincoln for some bodyguard, duties or whatever. And they did some mercenary work. They almost is like kind of like an early version of Blackwater, but we're talking like the 1800s. Obviously, you're talking about Lincoln. Talking about the 1800s. They were also known for some shady shit, like maybe breaking up, unions, infiltrating unions, and causing trouble, whatever. So that's what I'm reading online about this agency. But it was a real life agency. So Aaron Day is coming into conflict with these guys. Now, since this is a period piece, of course, he's going to deal with that period prejudice and that period, racism that touches the character, through as the story goes along. It doesn't stop him. He powers through and he makes things happen. But this is a very proactive hero. There's a lot of action from start to finish. I mean, damn, the first page is him in some kind of shootout. Again during the Poland Russian War. So it's action from start to finish. And the guy is a thinker. He thinks and he strategizes. He evaluates his enemy or his prey, throughout the whole thing. So it's definitely something that you want to get your hands on. Now, right now, I just have the digital, right? I have the print, rather the digital that I'm looking at on my laptop, flip, tablet or whatever. If the print is available, I will put it in the show notes. Hopefully, the print is available. And so that's the first story. He kind of has to chase this armored, this vehicle, which is under the protection of the Pinkerton agency, and some things happen. And I'm not going to go into details, but it's a very interesting story. As I kind of go through the art, you'll find is very moody, and it definitely almost like music, kind of lends to the mood of the scenes. So does Fielder's illustration and color and so forth lend to that. And Fielder, to me, he almost has kind of like a very airbrushy, airbrushhy, that a word, airbrushy kind of style to him, and so that's something that you'll appreciate. And the thing that I love most about the character is that he's very alpha. You know what I mean? Doesn't really second guess himself. He just moves forward. It's almost like a juggernaut mentally. He just keeps moving forward, and he doesn't seem to allow himself to be attached, too much. He just completes the mission and moves on to the next adventure. Now, there's another story in there called Goliath Must Die, and that's more of a sensitive kind of a adventure because of the people that are involved. I mean, at this point, he's in Spain. Before, I think he was he in Poland? I think he was in Poland before. And in this vibration, he's in Spain. We're talking like, let's see, what year is this? And I'm using the handy dandy zoom feature. Okay, 1933. All right, 1933. So anyway, so he hears a gunshot. He goes to investigate, and then he finds out once he gets to the apartment, he finds out that there's this Spanish lady, um, standing over or kneeling beside the body of her husband, and he's been shot in the head. And so, the people are kind of, milling around and, oh my God, what happened, this, that, and the third. Now, during the process of him running to find out what happened, he's kind of having flashbacks, reminiscing. And so we get exposed to more of the background of Aaron Day, AKA Blackjack. And he starts to develop a reputation, and then they call him Blackjack, as the series goes on. But yeah, he kind of develops his reputation of this fixer, this person, if you need something done, if you need something acquired, he's the guy that you hire to do it. And so he goes and he finds, he runs with the rest of the townspeople, and they go in this apartment. Now he speaks a little bit of Spanish, and he finds out that the woman is calling someone's name. He looks at the woman, he sees there like bruises on her face, different things like that. And so people are making certain assumptions. And Aaron Day, Blackjack, he kind of goes into detective mode and starts evaluating the room and the woman and different and the third. And he really listens to her. He doesn't jump to conclusions like everybody else. He really listens, and then that sets him on a path to another adventure. And so I'm not going to tell you all the details about that. By the way, I'm getting this book from Amazon on the Kindle store in particular, and that's a place you can get it too. Let's see here. So I'm going to go to the next page here. I'm gonna fast forward a little bit, and again, the art is cool. The color palette changes since this is happening during the day and so forth. And yeah, it's kind of a touching story. This one it's not just bangs that pow. It lets you know that this Aaron Day has a heart. You know what I mean? He's not just like some kind of Terminator type dude or whatever. So now the last story is No Good Deed. And so, No Good Deed. This seems to be I could be wrong, but it seems to be like an early story, just based on the art. A lot of sepia, kind of approaches to tonality with the art. And again, he's sent on this mission by this beautiful woman to recover this priceless item that was apparently stolen, and her father was accused of the crime. And so, she's going to pay him a handsome sum. So he's going out to find these guys who stole it, these bandits. So anyway, so he goes and he hunts down the bandits, and they're holed up in the woods, just outside of this cave, and he watches them for a long time. He doesn't just rush in guns blazing. He starts to remember all of the lessons and, the little keys of wisdom that his father and even his grandfather, his mom gave him, which is nice. I mean, it kind of adds to the character of Blackjack, that he just doesn't, shoot first, ask questions later. He's a strategist. And so he sees there like five guys there, whatever, maybe six. And, he compares that to the intelligence or the information that the woman gave him. And, he kind of scopes things out. He waits till they get drunk because they're sitting around the fire drinking. And, one guy falls asleep, kind of halfway dozing, the guy that's on the watch. So Jack sneaks up, pap, right on the tip. He knocks him out. He leans him up against the edge of the cave. So to anybody looking, the guy's still awake, standing watch because it's fire stark or whatever. So he slips in and he finds the treasure, right? He finds this priceless item. And he's just about to slip out and come back out the cave. And this is where shit goes sideways. And instead of like, was it like a four guys or whatever waiting for him or still asleep or drunk? Now there's like 14 dudes out there with guns ablazing. And so now he's in this cave, this long tunnel-like cave, and they're shooting, and he's got to figure out a way out. And so that's where the adventure begins. So it's very cleverly written, very well illustrated, of course. And I'll just say that it's one of those that's like, whoa. When you get to the end, you're like, oh man, this would make a dope movie kind of thing. It's it's a twist ending. Okay, I'm not gonna tell you what it is, but it's a twist ending. I was shocked. You'll be shocked. You'll definitely enjoy this book. This is one of those books that everybody should have in their collection. And again, I got it from Amazon.com. If you go to their Kindle store or just look in their bookstore, you'll find it. Now I'm going to go to books. Let me say Blackjack. And I'm going to type in Alex Simmons. And I'm going to see if there's. So, okay, wonderful. So we got paperback available too. So it's paperback available. And it's the Kindle version. So you definitely want to. These are kind of like, novel type, books kind of a thing. Comics or whatever. So you definitely want to add them to your collection. Now, from what I understand, Alex Simmons has been in the game for a minute. So he's been writing these kind of wonderful works of fiction for a while. You definitely want to add it to your collection. It's one of the best examples I can find of independent Black media in terms of comics, sci-fi, and fantasy. All right. Alex Simmons, creator of Blackjack, this action adventure comic. You definitely need to add it to your collection. This is Jonathan Soul, jonathansoul.com. You can check out my site for interviews with the artists and creators of this wonderful medium and also reviews of their work. All right. Love you guys. Peace.